Starting a podcast for your business is one of the best ways to grow quickly while also building valuable relationships and establishing credibility. And the best part is, it doesn't have to be hard. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 phases to get your podcast off the ground, including how to film and record, the equipment you need, and how to get it distributed to every major platform in seconds for free. So let's break this process down into 3 different phases. So phase 1 is the prep stage, phase 2, create, and phase 3, syndicate and promote. So looking at phase 1, we need to prep everything from the show's angle to the content of the episodes to the filming equipment we're going to use. So first off, we want to decide what kind of equipment we're going to use to record our episodes. Now, good quality audio is essential, but it doesn't have to cost you a small fortune. You can actually grab a great quality microphone for less than $100 on Amazon. Now, if you have a little more to spend, I definitely recommend one of these, a Shure SM7B, for crisp, buttery audio. Now, the benefits of a higher end mic like this are that it tends to shut out a lot of the extra background noise, which is great for me because I'm surrounded by busy streets and have a ton of background noise when I'm filming at almost any time of the day. Now, depending on your mic type, you might require additional equipment to hook it up to your computer, like this Scarlett Focusrite. Now, what's cool about this is it will allow me to plug in a second microphone if I ever wanted to do an in-person interview. Now, the mistake you do not want to make is to only record audio. You'll want to record video for every single episode as well, whether it's a solo episode with just you talking or an interview episode. This is for 2 main reasons. So number 1, we want to be able to house your episodes on YouTube, which is a lot easier when you already have a visual element to them. YouTube is the 2nd most visited website in the world, right behind Google. So if we're not on it, we're missing a huge portion of online traffic. And second, when you record with video, you'll be able to repurpose this later for all the social media content your heart desires. Now, as far as the camera goes, keep it simple and use your iPhone or laptop. To get started properly, this is really all you need, and you can always upgrade later on. Now, when we get to phase 2, we'll talk about the options you have for software to record. So now that we have the equipment we need, we can start to think about our overall strategy. You'll want to determine what angle you're going to take with your show. The angle is essentially what makes your show different and attractive. What's the hook that will pull people in to listen? So in order to find the right angle, we first need to start by considering who your audience is. Now, like most things in the marketing world, once we know who we're talking to, figuring out the rest becomes a whole lot easier. Likely, if you're starting a podcast to grow your business, your audience is going to be your target market. So just think about what they want, what they're interested in, and what questions they have. How can you provide value to them in those categories? Now, if you're a business coach, what's going to be different about your content? Because if all you do is talk about Facebook ads and funnels, you're not going to stand out from the hundreds of others doing the same thing. One way to stand out is to get hyper specific with who you're talking to. So if we stick with the business coach example, instead of speaking to all business owners, you decide instead that your focus is on busy moms that are starting an eBay store. Now, another example is what we do at Upper Hand Creative. So rather than just discussing the latest content creation strategies, we instead interview former athletes and fitness entrepreneurs to talk about how their competitive edge in the gym and on the field now translates to a business, a very different approach than anyone else in my space. And what's better is that is my target market, former athletes and fitness pros turned entrepreneurs. So this means that I can literally seek out my best clients and build a relationship by inviting them on to my show. And this is a huge benefit of starting a podcast because not only do you have a great platform for networking, as most people will say yes to being interviewed or exposure to someone else's audience on a show, but you also build credibility by being able to interview or talk alongside other experts in your industry. And you can leverage their audience and their credibility as you build your own. Now, once we have this all defined, the last step is to create a simple outline for the show. So whether you're going solo, conducting interviews, or better yet, a mixture of both, always come into each episode with an outline or a plan. Otherwise, it becomes very easy to lose track and go down rabbit holes that don't provide any value for your audience. So decide ahead of time the overall direction you want to focus on, establish a set series of questions to ask each guest, and be organized in your flow. From here, you just need to reach out and invite your perfect guests onto the show. Now, if you want to know how to do this with ease, check out my other video on how to get guests for your podcast on LinkedIn, and I'll put the link down below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to get notified when new content like this is released, and be sure to give me a thumbs up on this video if you're getting any value from it so far. Now, phase 2 is all about creating your episodes. So as far as filming and recording go, there are so many options out there to make this easy for you. But assuming you're interviewing a guest on the show that's in a different location than you are, you can simply record the interview on something like Zoom. Riverside.fm is a higher quality version of Zoom, basically made for interviews. That's a great option as well. So if you have a solo episode, you can just record it on your camera or directly to your computer. Now, the important thing to note here is that you don't have to be perfect. If you really mess up, you can always edit this out later, but there's also beauty in imperfections, especially when it's an interview, because it brings authenticity that listeners can relate to. So have fun and go with the flow. Now, once your episode is recorded, you can edit out any dead space, long pauses, interruptions, or mistakes. You can also adjust volume levels as needed for smoother audio. Now, if you've watched any other videos on my channel, you know that I'm big on managing your time properly and assessing the true value of an hour of your time, though. So I really don't recommend that you edit these episodes yourself. You can easily find someone on Fiverr to clean up your episode for you, or hire a freelance editor to keep on staff as needed. Your time is better spent on finding guests and coming up with show ideas, creating the raw content. Now, the last step before your episode is ready to go live is to add your branding. Now, this includes a customized intro and music. You can easily have someone on Fiverr create a custom track for your podcast, or you can use properly licensed or public domain music and just record a voiceover intro for your show. You can introduce the hook and what it's about. Now, the goal here is to create curiosity and hook listeners into the angle of your show, as well as provide some consistent production value. So you can simply drag and drop this into the beginning of your episode or have your editor put this in. Now, for the video itself, you can add borders or headlines in your show's branding to create a consistent visual feel. Now, before we move on to the next phase, you'll just want to make sure that you have a graphic cover art and or logo for your show as well. Now, you can do this yourself in Canva pretty easily, or again, you guessed it, hire someone from Fiverr or Upwork to do this for you. Now, once you're happy with how your episode turned out, it's time to move on to phase 3, syndicate and promote. The easiest way to get your show syndicated or broadcast it out to all the major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google, and Spotify is using a free platform called Anchor.fm. Simply create an account and add in the details for your show, like a catchy description, any related websites, and your cover art graphic from phase 2. Then you'll just drag and drop each episode here, and it automatically submits to get you listed on all the major platforms. Now, while this can start to get you a few listens, it's not enough, and you should be leveraging the content you're creating to massively promote your show and your business on multiple platforms. So next, be sure to upload your full episode with video to your YouTube channel. You'll then want to go through the episode and find the best parts of it. Now, these could be short clips or even powerful quotes to stand alone. Now, for clips, repurpose these into Instagram Reels, TikToks, and YouTube Shorts by adding animated captions to them. For quotes, create a branded template that fits the look and feel of your show and just add in the quote to post on Instagram, Facebook, and even LinkedIn. Now, you can even take this a step further and create what's called an audiogram template. This is a graphic with an animation to indicate sound is playing. Then you just put an audio snippet from your episode over top of it. So for a full tutorial on repurposing your content, check out the walkthrough down below. So now you have everything you need to get your podcast off the ground to start gaining exposure and credibility for your business. If you want to know how you can get a content scaling team placed in your business today so that you can have the editors, the designers, and the creators you need to do all the work beyond recording for you, check out how we can help over at get.upperhandcreative.com/start. Happy recording, and I'll see you next time.